Hi everyone, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in today's video I want to show you the difference between healthy food online and real whole food. Now I noticed this when I'm posting on the community tab, because many of you seem to make the same mistake I made in the beginning. You are trying to eat healthier to improve your skin or just your overall health. But then you mostly rely on internet advice and the social media culture. And because of that, you start building meals around the online image of healthy food, thinking that this is real food. But most of the time it is not. What happened here is that we created a visual food environment. Now, whether that happened on purpose through marketing, lobbying, and carefully placed content, or whether it happened more by accident, I really do not know. But the issue is that by doing that, we changed what healthy food is supposed to look like. So when you look up healthy food today, whether that is on Google, Pinterest, Instagram, or even through an AI chatbot, you often do not get normal meals. What you get instead is the online version of health. And that version is usually very polished. It is colorful, light, decorative, small, clean looking, and often arranged in a way that looks better in a photo than it would work as an actual meal. And what makes this even more misleading is that when this image is repeated everywhere through marketing, social media, search engines, and now AI models, you can start to think that this is what healthy eating is supposed to look like. So health becomes a visual style. It becomes something that looks fresh, pretty, light, and aesthetic. But that is very different from real whole food, because real whole food is not supposed to perform health online. It is supposed to nourish the body, meaning it should give you enough energy, protein, and minerals, and it should keep you full. And for most of us, it also needs to be food you can actually eat throughout the day. Not just food that looks healthy in a picture. So I want to show you this visually, so it becomes much easier to understand. And I asked an AI model to generate 5 images of typical health food for acne-prone skin. And it did not really give me normal food. It gave me the visual language of wellness. It gave me food that looks like it belongs in an article or an advertisement or a clean eating page. But the most important part here is that the model is not doing this randomly. It is reflecting what the internet has taught it healthy food looks like. So the problem is not only the AI model or the search engine you are using, the problem is the visual food environment these models learn from. Because online, healthy food has been overrepresented as a polished wellness marketing. And when that is repeated enough, the model assumes this is what you mean when you ask for healthy food. And if you are new to this, or you are just learning about nutrition, then you can start assuming the same thing too. And that is really a problem, because once this online image of health becomes normal, real food can start to look too simple. A proper meal can start to look boring or even too heavy, while something small and polished can look healthier. And I think that is the biggest issue, because food that actually nourishes you can start to look less healthy only because it does not match the online image of health. And this is where the confusion really happens, because you're not judging the food by what it gives your body anymore. You are judging it by whether it looks like the version of health you have been shown online. So real meal can look too plain, while a polished health food image can look like the better choice. But the food is not the problem. The image is the problem. So now I want to show you the other side of this, because when I talk about real whole food in my videos, this is what I mean. And yes, it looks very simple, but that is exactly the point. Real food does not need to be turned into wellness content first before it becomes healthy. It already makes sense as food, because you can still recognize what it is, and you can also understand how you would actually eat it as a meal. And when the meal is built around real food, you do not need to force it to look healthy, because it already works in a different way. It has enough substance to actually feed you. It gives your body energy to work with. And it is not just something light and clean looking that leaves you hungry again an hour later, because you're not trying to decorate a plate. You are trying to build a meal that actually satisfies you. And that usually means food that gives you protein, minerals, energy, and enough structure to function as a real meal. And this is the difference I want you to see. The first image shows health as a style. It is polished, light, clean, and made to look good online. But the second image shows food as an actual foundation. It is not trying to impress you. It is just food that gives the body something to work with. And that is why this matters, not only for your skin, but for your overall health as well. Because when you're trying to improve your health, it is very easy to think you need something special. You think you need the perfect diet or a special routine or food that looks extremely clean. But you really do not. You just need to come back to real whole food. Because the body is not looking at your food like a camera, but it is responding to what the food provides. And this does not mean you can never eat something that looks aesthetic or light. That is not my point. My point is that this should not be what you build your diet around. Because if your diet is built around food that only looks healthy but does not really satisfy you, then it becomes very easy to undereat, snack constantly, miss important nutrients, and still feel like you are doing everything right because the food looks clean. But when you build your meals around real whole food, your meals become more grounded because you are working with food that is easy to understand and easy to repeat. And that is what makes real food so much easier. You are no longer trying to eat according to an image. You are eating according to what the body actually needs. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!